everyone. Welcome back to Not Delete, the show review of both new and older movies. This is Gino.
This is Robert.
This is Ricardo.
America.
And Gio.
And we are again doing this show for everybody. 2021, y'all. Let's get to it, guys. Let's talk about the new movie you watched this week. Robert, what was the new movie again? I forgot.
Come in, Ether. This is Barbo Observatory. Are you receiving this? Is anyone out there?
This is Ether. Does anyone copy? We're not receiving anything.
That puts our last contact with Mission Control at
3 weeks.
Why is it so quiet?
That's Ether. It's a spaceship that we hoped would be our future. I have to warn them about the conditions on Earth. I don't know all the details. It started with a mistake. There is an antenna that's stronger than ours. We get to that antenna, they'll hear us.
Our new movie this week is called The Midnight Sky, and it's available on Netflix. It's directed by George Clooney and stars George Clooney and Felicity Huffman. This is
Felicity Jones.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fuck. Felicity Jones. One of those Felicities. So I mean, this is a sci-fi movie about a scientist working alone in the Arctic after the world has basically ended. One day, his character finds like a mysterious young girl in the same facility that he's at and has to traverse the Arctic to reestablish communication with a spaceship that's returning to Earth from a mission from one of Jupiter's moons. I'll go first. I'm an out on this. I thought, to be honest, it looked very uninteresting, so I thought I was just gonna hate it. But while watching it, it became like mildly interesting to me. I liked some of the plot elements, but overall, it just felt like very low rent. And, the production values weren't that great, and it had like too many storylines for me that were just kind of competing for my attention. So like anytime something would happen on this one, it would get going, it'd be interesting, and then it would shift to the other one, and that would get interesting, and then it would just shift. So like it didn't hold my attention very well. So I'm out on this. Ricardo, what about you?
I feel the same way, so I am an out. I would have deleted, but I did like the George Clooney story. Like they should have just kept it basically like just him, and then I would have been more into it. It looked cool too sometimes. So I was like, for a little sci-fi, movie. I'm not really into sci-fi movies that much, but like I guess I was like, oh, cool, it's all right, but it's long. It took forever, and then like you said, there was a lot of stories in there that I was just like, I don't know, I didn't care enough for these characters for like to feel sad, because I know there was like sad moments, but I was just like, oh shit, I don't know what's going on most of the time. So I was like tuning off, and I'm telling you, I would have deleted it, but I don't know, there was like some aspects that I liked, like the George Clooney story with the girl. Just that, they should have just kept that. Maybe I would have been more into it, their little journey, but no. Well, Gino,
This is definitely, I can call a checkout movie. And I am an out. I'm not gonna lie, the first 40 minutes I was already deleted. I'm like, this is delete. But then for some odd reason, during that journey with George Clooney and the girl, it got better, and I was like, finally something to get my attention, even though I checked out still. And I agree, I wish they kept that instead of like the space aspect, because that to me was the weakest part of the story. Like there was times like I just did not care for the scenes with them, like especially like, oh, I'm in this memory, oh that's my best friend. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like the hell. I want to know more like the planet they went, like they kind of gave us like a snippet like in a dream sequence, and I was like, oh cool, we get to see it. But no, like they just bullshit between bullshit and space. And then like the whole journey, I found the journey with the little girl and with George Clooney was the best part. To me, it was more interesting. I mean, not the best part, more interesting. But whatever. I'm out. America, what about you?
I'm gonna delete this movie.
There you go.
Deleted.
Yeah. I'm definitely not the target audience for this, as you guys know. Once it goes into space, like I'm leaving, like I'm staying on Earth.
Hate it.
This movie couldn't keep my attention like from the beginning. Like I just like my phone was like, look what's happening, like like I just couldn't pay attention, and it did look really cheap. Like it wasn't very interesting to look at.
Yeah.
Really. It looked so staged. Like it didn't give me like it just. I mean, I guess that's part of it looking cheap, right? Like there wasn't anything for me to even like look at. Like space didn't look really cool. Like I mean, there's other space movies that even if they bore me, like
the snow didn't look good either.
Oh well, there was one scene that was like, oh cool, where the snow, there's like a fucking blizzard. That looked kind of fun.
Oh, that.
But that was it. I think that was my favorite part of the movie, just because it looked kind of cool.
Okay.
But he told me at the end of the movie, I was like, what happened? What happened to the little girl? And he's like, a moose ate her.
It was humped up
And
by
I
a
was
squirrel.
like, no, a moose ate her. And I was like, is that why at the beginning of the movie, the woman says like, I feel like a moose? So I turn on the movie and I'm like fast forwarding, like trying to look for the moose. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. That never happened. So
It might have been better.
Huh?
It might have made the movie better. That
Yeah.
Definitely would have.
But yeah, Gio, what did you think?
I agree with everybody. I'm an out on this movie. Yeah. I think what, because this movie's based on a book, so yeah. So this story is what it is. They had, it's based on a book, so they're gonna adapt it. And I guess the story has that space and Earth element. But yeah, it just feels like two movies that they're trying to just smash together, and it doesn't quite work because like the stakes are different. Like yeah, it's like kind of, I think you mentioned it, Robert. There's too many storylines, and not everybody gets a fleshing out of their stories or whatever. Like you never get any info on that. You kind of do a little bit, but it's just like, okay, and what? Kind of like that Sanchez guy in the space station.
Let's get into like more specifics. Like a lot of you guys have mentioned, the space stuff was just not very interesting. I mean, the characters there were none of the characters were developed really well, but I could care about George Clooney because he's a great actor, right? All he has to do is look and like he's that good. I was like, all right, I'll buy into your story. But the other one, he's like the other ones, like all the space ones, like they were just like cardboard cutouts, man. And like some of them are good actors. That it's so annoying because like there's scenes that like put them in peril, right? And like they're supposed to, like, there's a lot of tension, but it's like I don't care about any of these people. Like it's kind of cool, like the idea, like they're going through like an unknown part of space, but like you don't give me enough, but yet you act like you did. You try to make it all dramatic and stuff, and that's really what turns me off. I am the target audience for this.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. That's why
I am sci-fi space. I fucking automatically love it, and the fact that it looks so cheap. Not that a movie has to have like great special effects, but it acted like it had like a fancy suit on when it really just had like a tuxedo t-shirt. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that one of the reasons I wasn't deleting is that I was gonna talk about his directing, right? George Clooney directed this, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was okay. That's why I was like, oh, he's like his scenes are pretty cool. Like I don't know, everything was like it was good. That's why I was like, well done movie, except for the CGI parts that were kind of mediocre. So that kind of still got me to watch the whole thing. You get it? I never stopped it until America was telling me to do it, but I wasn't like stopping. I was trying to get into it. Like I was really trying, because it was fine. Like I'm telling you, it was fine. But damn, like they fucked it up. Like maybe it should have been longer, just to make the story in the top.
Because like you said, like the directing is pretty cool. Like once he starts his journey right across the Arctic, that's when it starts to get interesting. He's like, oh, okay, like I'm getting into this because like. It's so dangerous going across the ice, right? Like so many things could kill him, and he's trying to protect this little girl. was like, wow, now you have some drama, right?
Real
and
shit.
then it's like they changed the channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, go to the other. It's like, don't change the
Exactly.
channel. I'm watching a cool movie.
That's exactly
you know?
what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like that, like you're watching this cool scene, and then they go to the other side, and you're like, "What? What's going on?" Commercial
Exactly.
break. You know, like what the hell's going on? It kind of killed the whole thing.
I think that's it. Gino, can you remind us like where we stand on this?
I thought it all deletes at this point, but I mean, no, it's four outs, 1 delete.
Yeah, I think sci-fi movie that's really not worth your time.
Oh,
Some mildly
Yeah.
interesting moments in it, but just really you could skip it.
just no. How about this? Put on George Clooney. When he's not on the screen, fast forward. And then when he's back on, then press play. Robert, this is your pick. What is it?
Number, please.
Hello? Dispatch ready? Large object holding over my land like a tornado.
This is WOTW Radio in Cayuga, New Mexico, and this is the news for the hour.
What would you like to tell us about yourself?
I don't know.
Cool, aren't you like some big science girl? Tell me about science.
Everett, it's Faye. The sound came through the board and interrupted your radio show.
What a sound.
What's going on, Everett?
718 here at WOTW. We got a sound we'd like to play that seems to be bouncing around the valley tonight.
Yes, I have a story that might be helpful.
I can tell you what's going on.
The sound we heard out in the desert, it was coming from thousands of feet higher than anything could fly.
All right, guys, my pick this week is called The Vast of Night, and it's available on Amazon Prime, and it's directed by Andrew Patterson and stars Sierra McCormick and Jake Horowitz. Another sci-fi movie, guys. I know it's kind of weird that we just had and they're two kind of similar themed sci-fi movies, but this one is set in the 1950s, and it's about a phone switch operator who discovers like a strange noise coming through the phone signals, and soon starts to get calls about like people seeing lights in the sky. So she partners up with like a local radio DJ to investigate like where these strange signals are coming from. I mentioned this on our last episode that this is one of my favorite movies of last year.
Okay.
So I'm in, obviously. Like I absolutely adore this movie.
Super Saiyan in.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I was so blown away by it. Just the fact that it's like a slow burn movie that just like sets, you know, it's all about atmosphere, you know, it's like long drawn out takes, you know, and I'm a sucker for this. Like I said in the last review that sci-fi movies, like I love these type of movies. This is like in the tradition of Close Encounters and all that. So this obviously shot up like my all-time list, you know, sci-fi movies. I can't say enough about it, but enough about me. I'm excited to hear, like, did you guys respond to this movie or not? Who do I start with? America, what did you think of this movie? You're not the sci-fi person, but what did you think of this?
Yeah,
No,
it involves space.
The ultimate, not sci-fi person. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm not super into sci-fi and I'm not into space, but I am like super into like the Twilight Zone. So this movie fills, you know, that box for me, where it feels like really rural and like, ooh, something that could happen, like little spooky like tale. And I thought it was a really nice movie. So I'm super in. I thought it was so cute, like to set up the atmosphere. It's like a really small town, but they don't like make it super cheesy or anything. They don't tell you like, oh, someone got kidnapped or whatever. It really is, you don't expect what's coming. Really, the story just kind of builds as like the characters find out about this mysterious noise, and I loved it. I thought it was really good. So yeah, Gino, what did you think?
Oh man, Robert, dude, I can see why you like this movie from watching it.
Yeah, I know you know me the most.
Yeah, but I'll admit, man, I'm an in.
Cool.
But I have to admit, I'm sorry to say this, but this was a pause movie for me. Yeah.
A what?
A
pause movie.
Wow.
You know the terms like we have a
Blasphemy.
checkout movie and a pause movie. This was a pause movie, and it's not even
But you
long.
still like it. But you still like it. But you liked it, right?
No, I
So
liked
why did you
it. I like.
pause?
Yeah, well, let's just say there were moments they kind of like, come on, guys.
Do I like it? Pause.
No, you know what? I like it just because I really had to think through this after watching the Midnight Sky and this. I really had to think through it, and so I mean, even though it was a pause movie for me, I did enjoy like the idea. Like it is, like Robert said, it is a dialogue driven, and I think for me, I need more visuals than just dialogue. I think that's the reason why it kind of made me pause because like there's like moments you just keep doing the wires, and I'm like, can we just stop that? What about you, Gio?
I am in.
Okay.
Well, I do enjoy sci-fi, of course. You know, I'm actually wearing a Star Wars shirt. But I agree with Gino. Like it, I didn't pause it, but there are times where like they could have just kind of cut it a little bit. You know, pick up the pacing a little bit in certain moments. Like, but other than that, like I did like the. I think like America kind of mentioned it, the Twilight Zone aspect of this movie. Like it literally starts off as like a Twilight Zone episode, and they kind of keep that, you know, momentum for a bit. I feel that I think they after a while they kind of got lazy and stopped doing it though. So you know, that's kind of a little bit of a hit on them. Like they should have kind of kept it going a little bit because yeah, towards like the first half of the movie they had this style that they were trying to do where, you know, they'd cut, you know, from the movie to a small old school, like, you know, retro TV set. So it looks like you're to give you that feeling that you're watching like an old episode of, you know, this Twilight Zone knockoff. And then and then there's like was it and then they had like the way that there's that one part where that guy on called in the radio and they're having that conversation and it just goes to black. So it kind of gives you that feeling of that, you know, you're listening to the radio. It's that like you're, you know, kind of radio conversation, which was kind of cool. They, you know, they were playing around with like, you know, these technical things of making you feel old, like you're in this, you know, this time period, and then they're also kind of like making it more of that radio, kind of making you immerse in this, you know, into this movie, which is pretty cool. And I do agree with like Robert, like this feels like that Close Encounters, old school kind of Steven Spielberg, you know, kind of feel to it. The big Steven feel like you can it oozes like his influence. This movie like just oozes it.
How about you, Ricardo?
Oh yeah, so love the dialogue parts, right? Like that shit. That you're just listening. It's like a fucking podcast. I would just like shut down and just listen to this shit, and they do it for you. I fucking love that. They do it for you. They turn it off, and then you just listen to the story and the way it's told, and it's fucking legit. I love the characters. And it's only like 2 characters basically, so it's just 2 characters in this whole movie. There's just a whole little town, and they keep talking about the whole rest of the people, but they really focus on these 2 people, and it's too good. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. I am super in on this.
Sweet.
Yes, I had a great time watching it.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this movie, like you said, is that they make you listen, right? They do turn off the visuals for you. And I know that kind of is probably what distracted Gino and where you think they could have cut some time, right? But I loved that.
Yeah,
I thought it was so cool. Like you really don't need anything. That's how you would have listened to it if you were in that time period. And like Gio said, that's how they put you into that time period, into that mood. So yeah, like I was like staring at my dog and kind of, you know, when you're listening, like if on Wednesday when the government was being overthrown or whatever, and if you were listening to that on the radio, like you probably would have been listening with like your ear to the radio. Like you don't stare at the radio, right? And that's kind of how I was
some
watching
people
the
do.
movie. So yeah, Gio, you're just like,
tell me more. Yeah. To me, like I think it's great that we had something of the Midnight Sky in the same episode, because it's a nice counterpoint to that, right? Such a contrast. Like look at, because they're similar because like if you kind of take the Midnight Sky, it's about 2 people, right? And like 3 people
trying to make contact,
like right, but not just that. It's in terms of storytelling, right? How do you tell an effective story with not a lot of visuals with just a couple people, right? And then that movie has like a huge budget. I would imagine it's like 100 million at least, right? Yet it struggled to keep our interest, right? When something like this, the budget must have been like less than $1 million, right?
Yeah, I think
And
it's like
yet,
700.
yeah, it's so
Wow.
it's
700,000.
it's so well written. It's beautifully directed, beautifully shot that it engages us, right? And that's how you like grab an audience, right? To me, it never let me go. I never
Yeah.
paused. I never even thought of pausing it. And that every single piece of dialogue was so important, right? When you know when you have a movie that doesn't have like set pieces like spaceships like flying around like that, every single word is so important, right? Because
Yeah.
they're telling you the action, right? They're raising the stakes through all their what they're saying. To me, it's so beautiful to see a movie like that, and it's so goddamn fun. Like I don't see like what I would cut out. I would never cut out anything. And the way that like I think I think you guys know I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan.
Yeah.
So as soon as it started and it was framed like that, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And Geo, they do it like 3 times, and I think that's the appropriate amount of times to like break in and out of that TV thing. You know?
That's what I was gonna say.
You know,
I can agree.
I don't think that's an oversight. I think to me, like
That's
I
all
said,
you need.
this movie is so goddamn good, and I hope this director continues making like unique films, and who knows what the future has in store. But I would be super excited to see whatever he makes next, whether it's sci-fi or not.
I mean, look, I'm sorry for saying like it's a pause movie. What I meant to say was I pause it just because like there like I guess it was just one moment that I thought it dragged, but again it made sense later on, like you said, like each word are like a key thing for the movie, and you're right, it was. And then that's why that didn't fully explain my pause moment, but that's the reason why I paused, because I felt like it didn't need it, but later on in the movie it made sense, and I was like, okay, all right. That's why I'm still in it. You know what I mean?
But even if you look like at some of like, cause it has like really bad reviews on IMDb and stuff like that. Cause
Really?
because like I remember when I first saw the trailer, like it's cut like really fast and exciting, you know. So it makes it look like even more of a Spielberg film, like with a lot of action and stuff
More
like that.
modern
And
Spielberg film.
so like they're expecting like action sequences and stuff like that, you know, and you don't get that here, you know. But like to me, like the scene where she's like pulling the phone things and getting all those calls, that's one of the most exciting things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like one like long take with just like words like that, like how do you not appreciate that type of storytelling?
True.
Yeah. I really like it. It's like, I mean, it's like that's your job, right? That is her job, and she has to connect the whole town, and some chisme is happening, and like she really wants to find, like, you can't lose this, and especially because they don't have his number, right?
Yeah.
So he's kind of like this mystery caller. So you're super on edge, like, oh my god, are we gonna get him back? Whatever. So
What scares me the most is that everyone's at this basketball game that
Oh, yeah.
this all event takes place. And it's like, is that city really into this basketball game to be so empty, and they just drive through
But
that
it's a
city?
small,
Because it's a small town.
It's a small town, yeah.
It's
I
no,
mean,
but
like,
that
You
creeps
saw
me out
Varsity
even-
Blues. Those small towns, man.
No,
Gotta get
man,
into
it reminds me of that
Old movie like
the
that.
movie Faculty. That's why, you know what I mean? Like the whole, like,
Faculty. Oh,
yeah, you know, because like to me, what scares me the most is like not just because the alien experience, it's just the fact that you go outside your town in this big street and the stores are closed and pitch dark,
Yeah.
and you're the only one standing there. That creeps me out the most.
That kind of that gave me like a little nostalgia factor, because where I'm from it's not a super small town, but when I was younger, like it was a lot smaller. And it's just seen like a lot of growth since I was like growing up. But when I was younger, like if you needed groceries, like you better get them before 7 p.m. Like things are closed on weekends. Like it was like really like small town feely.
Oh my god.
So to me, like I don't know, it was like really cute.
Oh, okay.
Like it adds to that factor of like,
Yeah.
what is this mystery? Like nothing's going on. If you're not at the basketball game, if you don't like basketball, or if you don't, socialize in that way, like this is your adventure, and this is the adventure that the radio guy and that girl had, right?
It's also a super clever way to like isolate the characters,
Yeah.
because like a spaceship flying over town, everybody should see that.
Yeah.
But it's such a small town that everybody's at this high school game, because that's what people do in small towns, you know?
Yeah.
Like it also kind of helps, like all those elements between her working at the switchboard, the basketball game, kind of also help reinforce the time period, because like yeah, there's nothing to do. So what are you gonna go do? You're gonna go watch your local basketball game. You only have what, 3 channels on TV. So the best entertainment that you have in town, like, is going to go see the basketball game because you got to go watch your son play basketball. And then like the whole her connecting all the telephone wires and whatever. There's no cell phone, so there's no way to like tweet at people or send a text message to somebody. Like she was trying to she's trying to get a hold of her cousin, but nobody would she wouldn't pick up, so she had to go call the neighbor to go check on her cousin, make sure that she's okay. Yeah.
That's
So,
what I
like,
was
all these
thinking.
little things are like kind of help like reinforce this, this kind of low tech kind of world that they live in, where they don't know anything, and you saw that the only dude that knows almost anything is the radio DJ.
Yeah, I thought when she left the switchboard, I was like, what if everyone needs to talk to each other? Like they're gonna get taken over, like So I'm kind of like, stay there.
All right, anybody want to say anything more glowing about this movie, or?
I'm gonna go watch it again.
Movie
Yeah.
rules.
I'll go watch it again.
Watch it again. Yeah.
I won't pause this time. I'll watch it again.
I've seen it 3 times now, and I plan to watch it more. Yeah.
Save
Gino,
it, man. Make it
yeah.
a tradition. Save it. Like
I want to buy it on
This
Blu-ray
is
because
a
I
very
hate.
rewatchable movie. Like you could watch it the
Yeah.
next day and it'd be amazing. It's not one of those that you have to wait.
I'll pay someone to play it in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to watch it in a theater
because it plays out like an episode of TV. You know.
Yeah.
So, Gino, can you confirm to me that this was a sweep?
This is a sweep.
Yeah. So I think if you're a sci-fi fan, not just a sci-fi fan, just a film fan, watch this movie. There's a lot here for you. It's really, really great.
Trust us.
Nice.
And this is the first sweep of the year, y'all. Just remember that.
Oh, nice.
Nice and short. The movie's nice and short and easy to watch.
Our new movie, we'll check it out next week. But then again, Robert, my bad. Ricardo, what is your pick?
My pick is I don't know if you guys watched this, but it's mid-90s from Jonah Hill, directed by Jonah Hill.
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
and then
Some of that was shot here
in Montebello.
Yep.
Montebello. And then they have this whole scene in East LA, and it's a spot that I used to always hang out. So I always appreciate that movie. In the movie, like I'm just saying, like you guys could watch. Like maybe it's not a great movie, but I always appreciate.
That's to be determined.
Yeah,
We'll decide
you'll
that,
see.
yeah.
You'll see. So that's my pick. Hope you guys like it. It's on Amazon. So
It's on Amazon Prime. Okay, cool. I'm down. I dig it.
It's in one of those A24 movies. So
yes, it is. A24 movies I love those movies. So
they tend to have a good track record.
Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, In Out Delete Reviews, Twitter at In Out Delete, and of course YouTube. We're there, In Out Delete. Just click, watch us. Hell, watch our best 2020 if you want. Just see what we thought. Of course, we all made a decision. Mulan sucked. So, spoiler alert. See y'all next time. Good night.
Yeah, don't try to overthrow the government. All right, bye.